concerns a subject which is so alien from anything that we understand in the West that it may stretch your skulls a little. I don't know. Because, of course, integration means that you get two aspects of yourself together and acknowledge them both as you, the conscious and the unconscious. The power of the ego and the power of the natural organism on the other side. And so in every art, one realizes there comes a point where your will is exhausted. You've tried everything to make something work, and it won't work. And then to achieve the perfection of the art, something has to happen of itself, which we variously call grace, inspiration, or tariki. And the problem that everybody's always wanted to know is how to make that happen.
Hi, Takumi. Ah! What? Oof. What doing? What? Was it too loud? Oh. Okay. Mm.
Rar!
Rar. Rar. How's everyone? Doing a chibi stream. A spooky chibi stream. What doing? How you guys? What? And I'm chippy. Nice. Hey. Oh, we got Chibi. Tiny. See? Ignore the hand. Chibi stream. But you can't, it's too cute. No. 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 You'll be nice to me.
Hello.
Ah! Ah! No! No! Gross. That's gross. Take that back. Chibi. It's Chibi. Yeah. Chibi model. Wow. Hey. How's everyone? Wait. Burp doesn't like chibi model. I don't know what to tell you. Burb's in cage. Bird's sleeping. Burp is not here right now. Call back later. Call again later. No! Bird's not here right now. You calm yourself. No. Chibi model need Bird. He'd be too fat. You'd be too fat. Or egg. Chibi egg. Yeah. Just a fat egg. Just Chibi is, yeah. Figure we do a baby stream because me playing a scary game. We need it. Chibi has better face tracking, but I like the other one. Why? No scaring me. It's not allowed. No. Break rules all the time. I'm still messing with the face tracking. Blah. Blah 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 blah. Oh, blah, blah. You see, like, blah blah blah.
Ew.
No. No, ooh woo. No. No, woo woo woo. That makes a good point. What? Awa awa? What's that? Awa 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 awa. Like that? Do it, you coward. Do what? You're a coward.
FBI, open up!
Breaking my sound! Stop it! Aha! You guys suck. Stop it. Get some help. Everything at once, really? Who's that gonna scare? You really wanna do that? Who's that gonna scare, huh? Hey! I'm being serious right now. Get some help. Degenerates. You guys have issues, okay? Okay, now that you wasted all those points, let's actually play some scary game. Don't give me that crap. Oh, pushy. Chat might be lagging. Alright, play. I press play. Game? Yeah, let me turn this music off. There we go. No, don't leave. You're gonna watch me play scary game. Okay, bye. Damn it. So? 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 Problem? Go do you then. Goodbye. Hey. Good little heart. Cute. Good. You suck. Old pictures. Can I jump? No, no jumping allowed. Does this sound too... It sounds probably too loud. There. Yeah. My dirty little secrets. Ew. What the shit? I don't know. I wasn't allowed to look it up. It was just given to me. Wow, a whole bunch of nothing I can see. All I know is it's spooky. Looks like a can of deodorant. Anything in there? Microwave. Nice. Pretty light. Okay. Huh. Nothing. Okay. How do I get out of here? Ooh. Can I, like... Can't see anything. Oh. It's a mirror. Is there a light switch? I gotta turn up the movement. This is slow as fuck. That's a bit better. I still can't see anything. Light, 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 light. Light switch. Light switch. Anything? Wait, there was a light right here. Who the... Whomst? Who Who has a light on the back of their freaking... No. Your light is when you go into on the other side. Really? So why am I lagging? That's not fun. Let's do... a little bit less. And... documents. Give me 2 seconds, okay? Desktop. This... Just 2 seconds. Just a little bit of time. Need to mix up some resources here. Let me close this. Close this. Open this. Do VC face. Set priority. High. OBS. Set priority. Better. Okay. No. It used it for drawing before. For, soap. Nothing. I used it once or twice before. I don't use it that often. Do you like it? I usually do it when I do like super comfy streams or... What was that? What am I supposed to be doing here? Looking for a key, I presume? Hey! How do you know what I'm supposed to be doing? Oh, I can sit down. Ah! Oh, my dirty little secrets. Read on to move on. I read on. F, E. Read. Read. Oh. The last human on Earth was sitting alone in a room. There came a knock on the door. I've never cared for keeping a diary, but now seems to be a good time to start keeping one. Why? Because after all these years, I just can't forget about what used to be the light of my life. I know, over dramatic much? Knowing Brian Colmer as much as I did is bound to leave that big chunk of residue. Let's just say this diary is what's left of our relationship. He, that all. Okay. Next. 3 years. No. 3 years have passed and the world around me is still the same. Well, except for me, I look like a mummified corpse. What would B say if he saw me again? B left Rosen Peak the moment he graduated high school to go to a fancy college of his dreams. Since then, I could only rely on my memories of him to keep on going. I wonder if it was the same for him too. When you love someone, his whole existence just gets etched into your brain. So no matter how much B changes, I will always know it's him. But will B do the same for me? I know B liked me a lot too, but he was not the most likely person to remember stuff. Considering how long 3 years felt for me, it's possible he did forget about me. Or am I giving him too little credit? So here comes the big question. Will he remember me? Yes or no? Okay. Good. Can I, like, see around me? Who am I kidding? It's B we're talking about. We didn't have the most perfect relationship, but he won't just dump his memory of me down the toilet or something. He's too much of a nice guy for that. And don't forget cute. I just hope our time together was meaningful enough to him. Enough to make him cherish even the darkest ones. What darkest ones? Speaking of cherishable memories, I wonder what happened to Joe's Diner. It used to be my favorite place. Naturally, because it was B's favorite place to begin with. If there were two things that were too good for Rosen Peak, it would be Brian and Joe's Diner. Home of the best pancakes in the world. Wow. Things were so much easier back then. B could just go, hey, and I would be like, hey. Nothing but hanging out after that with some occasional visit to Colton Hill. No? We had such a good thing going. Will he remember my voice? Did I mean to hit unknown? Will he remember? Hello? Hello? Hey! Will he remember my voice? Will he say hey to me again? Did time already ruin our moments? I just wanted to say hello every time I called him. But what I want to do and can do are two different things, as always. Just enjoying B's presence on the other side of the phone was satisfying too, in a way, though. Imagine him eagerly waiting to hear something other than my breath. Oh, am I the creep? Probably. I wish I could sneak into people's... Hell no! Get up! Close it! Gross. I'm gonna get my desk all wet. Just gonna look around real quick. Me too, I don't like this. Is this open? Is it me or did that just move? Am I going crazy? Hello? I don't like it. Oh, that was the door closing. Just gonna open some things. Not stay open. And this stay open. Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. Oh, my microwave. What? That as a debut outfit? I admire your confidence, Sam. And with that, my whole high school years were probably over. First day of new school and the new girl in town got classified as undesirable by what seems to be the queen of Wayrite Academy. I spent last night telling myself, confidence, Sam, confidence. But it looks like I should have spent the time picking better clothes. I try not to care too much about blending in, but these kids already look at me like I'm candy handed out by strangers. The package seems fine, but you know there's something fishy in there. Judging from their whispers, I could figure out they didn't know Wayrite even accepted transfers. It's been less than 24 hours since I moved to Rosen Peak. I already enjoy sitting alone in my dorm room more than attempting to socialize with people who call me a city girl. Well, screw you too, hillbillies. Besides, I decided not to force myself into making friends after how my old friends decided to turn on me. Just hope these guys leave me alone at least. Keeping a diary sure can help keep things together in all the chaos. No? What's made an abyss? All the chaos. I haven't kept a diary since kindergarten, but this seems like a good time to restart. Kudos for Mom for giving me advice on... oh shoot, almost forgot calling her. Write you later, diary. Write you later, diary. My only true friend. Love, Sam. Wait, what the fuck? If I had that power, I would never stop looking through B's window. Look beyond their eyes just by staring? Is it a good anime? Made in Abyss. I think I've heard of it. I'll for sure look it up. You don't know. Alright, next page. Will B remember the moment he came into my life? For me, it's as clear as the moment he left. So clear that the downfall of our relationship still cuts deep into my heart. Is it scary? Ooh, if it's scary, I'm totally watching it. I love watching scary stuff. Playing it, not so much. Ooh, okay, so stranger, friend, special someone, straight to blood. Yeah, life in Rosen Peak was a jar filled with bittersweet candies. Not exactly tasteful, but I learned to enjoy it. Nevertheless, it's where my heart lies. Wrote a poem in B's memory. He used to struggle with Miss Leslie's poetry practices, even if he didn't have to try that hard. Miss Leslie always told us poetry is not about using fancy words. Let your feelings do all the work. Well, this is how I feel. I stand at his doorstep, heart filled with desire. He rushes down the stairs, heart red like fire. But before his spirit can soar, first he must answer the door. Creepy. Oh. Creepy. Knock, knock. Knock, knock, knock. Do I get up and check the door? Okay. Knock, knock, knock. The shit am I looking at? Certainly a blurry blob. No one there, though. Oh, another letter. Okay, I'll check it out later. Me. Turn the resolution settings down a little more. What's with the lag today? Okay. Stacy is a classic. FY, she's the one who talked. See if I. What? She's the one who talked crap about my favorite vintage shirt. It's like she jumped straight out of a cheesy teen drama. Blonde, hot, always talking, and a cheerleader. She even has a beefy jock for a boyfriend. I didn't want to start talking shit about someone already, but how could I resist? Every time I get in Stacy's view, triggered I get in Stacy's view triggered an obvious backbite. I'm seriously starting to think she's under a curse that kills her if she stops talking about someone else. Sadly, coping with her bitchiness wasn't the hardest part of the day. Mom called again. As far as she knows, it's just rainbows and butterflies here in Rosen Peak. I can still remember the complicated face she made when I told her that my application was accepted by Wayrite. None of us were expecting them to approve a transfer request of an 11th grader. Even if she told me she understands my need to move out of the city, I feel really guilty for leaving her alone. You already used up your last runaway chance, Sam. If not for you, for Mom. What? Oh, it's okay. You can put it anywhere. Hey. Other Wayrite kids were so predictable. Their doors were already open even before I put my hand on the knob. But B's door was closed shut and so beautifully painted. Everyone liked him, but I couldn't get him to open up. Ew. I knew there was something more behind that pretty paint. Something behind his bright smile. But the other hand, being able to hang out with him was a good enough blessing for me. Enough to make me want to never leave his side. Never ever. Ah. Guess I'm not supposed to. Draw. No. What am I supposed to do? Oh, fuck that. What is it? I'm lost. My beloved microwave. I'm scared. My first Rosen Peak weekend, as the name itself gives away. The small town fits perfectly as a setting for a mystery horror genre. Lush forests, endless hills, and a lake that I'm certain is hiding a couple of dead bodies. I could pay a visit one day and take some gorgeous shots. As for now, I'm just gonna leave those POL on my to-do list, which is already filled with crazy amount of homework. I now know why youngsters of Wayrite will try their best to get as far away from school as possible after class, to escape from choking on the pressure that teachers give them. Even weekdays, pretty girls like Stacy will have their boyfriends give them a ride, and others make use of the power of public transportation to get the more crowded part of town. It does feel too quiet, with no one left in school, but at least I don't feel as lonely as I was in San Diego. At least I don't have to watch everyone I know turn their faces away like I'm some kind of demon spawn. At least I don't have to be reminded of how fucked up things can be in a single moment. Moving on won't be easy, but as long as I keep myself busy, it won't be that hard. As for my weekend plan, I'm just improvise in the morning. Write you later. Love, Sam. B was always pushing his limits. Well, it was more like he was always being pushed, but he was good at it. That's why he naturally became the best quarterback of the team while maintaining a high grade for a star player. B was the best quarterback Wayrite could ask for. Seeing him running all sweaty on the field always triggered something tingly within me. Something that made me want to catch him behind his back and never let go. Can I draw on this page? No? I just want to draw on the pages. All sorts of feelings and thoughts were pumped restlessly into my brain with every heartbeat. It gave me a bad headache, a good kind of bad headache. I wanted it to stop, and I wanted it to never stop. But as soon as we gave me that hey, all of those headaches were washed away. Used to be the best prescription I can ask for. Take away the pain and let only the good things stay. Hey. Don't creak at me. Okay. Ugh. Hi. Give me that. I'll put it here. Yeah. Oh. Hi, Tamago. How you doing? Oh, thank you for the follow. Why didn't that pop up? That's weird. But thank you and hi. I'm playing a spooky game. How's your day going? Probably 'cause I'm egg. Egg. Hello. Okay, I'm gonna read this. For a boarding school, Wayrite intellectuals are not that interested in becoming intelligent. I visited the library today, and two things surprised me. The place was much bigger than the one in my old school. Someone could get lost in here. too. I had a strong feeling that people rarely visit the library. Maybe because they feared being lost in there. The place was too clean. Even the books showed little sign of human touch. Now I feel sorry for complaining about Miss Leslie's book assignment. I wonder if Stacy is even thinking of picking a book. With her admiring her boyfriend Kyle's tattoo all day, I doubt she has spare time to do that. Is she depending on Kyle to do the reading for her? Seriously? According to what I saw so far, he's either busy reacting to whatever's coming out of Stacy's mouth or working up some shenanigans with his jock buddy Brian. Was it? So, yeah, right. In the meantime, I should be more concerned about myself than the well-being of the whole school. You don't... Oh, yes, Boops. I'm doing Gucci. Good. Chill is good. We like chill here, but we're doing spooky today. I'm trying not to, but now it's dark. And this book is whispering to me. Open those eyes, no need for words. The sweetest love songs those eyes utter. So turn around and sing for me. Do I have to? Coin! How dare you? Coin, why would you do that? Ah! Sing. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy. Don't kill me. Can I stab it with the pencil? Okay. It left. Fridge? Was that there before? Plastic! Excuse you? I'm gonna microwave this stick. No. It won't let me. This sucks. Visited the library again. A bit more people than before, and among them was Brian. It's not worth a bother, but seeing a major skank's boyfriend's bud wandering around in a library is uncanny by anyone's standards. He must have been in there to pick a book for Miss Leslie's assignment. I almost got too close to him trying to see what he was going to pick. I really hope he didn't notice that. I'd rather be known as a regular geek than a creepy one. Probably too late for that. A jock in a library, now I've seen everything. Woe is me, hate to admit, but seeing Brian at the library was today's only diary-worthy event. Probably because it's the only human interaction that doesn't give me a sensation of someone talking behind my back. At least today's entry is a tad more meaningful than what I wrote yesterday. I need to revise my book options now. Write you later. I miss him even when I'm with him. I see him even when he's not looking. At least my light's back on. What's with the stick, though? I drawn it? Have I drawn it? No. I get the stick. I put it. Oh, nice. Oh? Where'd it go? Did you see the paper? I did. Is it lagging for you guys? Trying to see what could be causing the issue right now. This game is not well regulated, it looks like. Let me turn down this a little more. Okay. Well, we can't go to the next page yet. missing? Shut up. I don't know. There was a note right here. But it disappeared. Maybe I go back? What would that be? I take the picture? Hmm. Stick? What do I do? Hmm. What do you think, Coin? Do I go to bed? Don't like that. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Hmm. Left click when reading papers to see the queen. Okay. Gotta be something I do. What the hell? Huh? Hmm? Do I make a call? Do I look out the window? Does that look like he's in the kitchen? Like right here? Oh. Yeah. It is his kitchen. That's someone under the bed. But like, do I get under? I can only look under. I don't understand. Did I break the game? There's nothing there. I'm confused. Can I go under the table? Or is that the whole game? Like, she's a creepy stalker. She's hiding out under his bed. I wonder if that's the whole game. But I saw something on the wall over here. It just disappeared. Stick? Put stick under bed? Oh, okay. It was Mr. Kane's ninth psychology class, and he still managed to come up with another lame activity. This time, he gave each of us a sheet and made us write down some of our personal traits. For next 10 cringy minutes, I managed to squeeze out some of the aspects of myself that I could hate less. After that, Mr. Kane told us to think about whether or not others would agree to each of them. He called it re-engaging the perspective towards oneself, blah blah. Wow, like I really needed to reevaluate my stupid self. But it's not the dumb subconscious exercise that's bugging me right now. When the papers were being passed around, Brian, yep, him again, kinda smiled at me. It's 11 p.m. now. Why am I writing about this? Most likely an accidental glance, but I still don't know why the very image hovered in my head the rest of the class. Okay, the rest of the day. Stupid Brian probs wants an excuse for screwing up today's math test. Gonna pretend that didn't happen. As the time we spent together grew longer, one question kept growing with it. What does the me in B's eyes look like? Does he see me as I see him? Does he see me as I see myself? Does he see me as I want him to? I screamed in agony, but there was nobody to even hear it. Will others think that I do not overthink? Would never lie to my friends, no. Never use others for my personal gains. Do not overthink, no. 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 Will others think that I won't betray anyone close to me? We're going this chick is crazy. Never act on impulse. Don't run away from my responsibilities. I'm a fucking freak. Hey, my pencil. I was returning some of the books I checked out when he came out of nowhere. Hey, anything worth reading? Never thought the voice was aimed at me, but my heart was somehow already skipping a beat. Ryan had to tap me on the shoulder. To get my complete attention. Sam, right? I saw you going in and out of the library, he said with a buttery voice. Not like I've been stalking you or anything. I came here from time to time too to get this stupid assignment out of the way so I can focus on my games. He said he couldn't find anything interesting to read, and since all he could think of were comics, he could use some guidance. My mind was still jumbled up from the ambush. All I remember is saying, how about Misery? Stephen King's works are good enough to get you started, 'cause boys like any story with blood and breaking bones, right? Oh god, I don't recall how the rest of the conversation went, but I'm certain he said see you later at some point, and I said see ya. Misery, real nice, Sam. If Brian didn't know you were a weirdo, he does now. What if I did things differently? I was continuously surrounded by assholes, but I can't call myself a great human being either. My life was in chaos. I barely had time to think about who I was. And with all those noises hovering around me, all I could think about was simple life. Never wanted a drama. I wanted a poemish life. Tender, subtle love story written only for his eyes. Totally fine if no one else gets it as long as B does. B always was always welcome in my world. I gave him the key to it. Even if he lost it, he could always come back to our world to find it. I think it was a good time to come back now, B. I have the key? Let's go back to our small world where I placed my hearts at everywhere you loved. Let's go back. Can I draw on this? My heart's at everywhere you love. Joe's Diner. Ah. There's a heart here. Any other hearts? Do. Hearts, hearts, hearts. This game became way less scary. Just wanna pop in to say hi. I'm feeling a bit under the weather tonight, so I need to get rest. Have fun with the stream. Leave my PC on alert. Okay, Shun. Sorry you're feeling under the weather. I hope you feel better. It's sweet you stopped in to say hi, though. And that you're lurking. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you. Feel better. Any more hearts? I don't know. Let's... Give me the heart. I want the heart. Give me the heart. Give me the heart. Give me the heart. Have to find all of them? Because I think there's only one. The one under the bed? Everything you loved. You loved the light switch. You love food. You love microwave. Um... Tricky, tricky. What do you love? Hmm. People are gonna come into my stream and wonder why I'm staring at a tablecloth. key. But I know he's not coming back. I'll never hear that hey ever again. I will never know what's behind his door locked tight with smiles. Because I gave him my key and B didn't. Okay, let's go to locked door. Drawer. Hey! Turns out the lake does have a history of having dead bodies in it. I know this because I visited there. I visited there because Brian took me there. What? It all happened so fast. I was outside the yard reading when Brian appeared out of nowhere again. He said, hey, and started telling me how he actually enjoyed the book and how he never read the same book twice in his life. And since he was heading out, he offered me to give me a tour of the town. 10 minutes later, we were passing Joe's Diner, home of the world-famous pancakes, says Brian. There was also an arcade across the diner. Brian hates the place because it's teeming with 10-year-olds. Donut Shop was Brian's must-go-to place, unlike the music store, which according to him seriously needs a restock. Found my own a bookstore. What? It was weird seeing a bookstore and a gym standing side by side, though. At the end of the tour, I finally got to taste the sweet pancake Brian worshipped. Out the window, I could see the weird, gigantic hill that was also visible from my dorm room. Brian revealed that it's a secret base of some kind, since few people actually visit Cotton Hill. He jokingly said he could take me there when I'm cool enough. After dinner, Brian dropped me off at a bus station and drove off to meet up with his friends. I was exhausted but hyped up beyond my limits. I can't sleep. How can I when the whole day just feels like a dream? So Joe's Diner. We got one for the diner. One for donut stop. And one for Cotton Hill. What'd that do? I miss Morning Dew Bakery. Bee never shut up about its donuts. So tasty. They did taste sweet, just like Bee's heart. Each bite was another memory to savor. But just like a donut, it had an expiration date. It turned cold and bitter. I miss its warmth. I miss its sweetness. I need it. I need to eat it up. Can I No. Warmth? Donut. Let's warm it up. Jesus. The golems just obliterated the hammerheads today? I now know why they say Brian and Kyle are more than buds. I would have called them an awesome duo too if only Kyle wasn't an assload of a douche. I mean, the guy has his name tattooed on his arm. Call me old-fashioned, but I think you should go to a hospital and get the ego checked out. because it must be swollen huge. At least he leaves me alone other than giving me that creepy stare when I pass by. I understand how Stacy can keep hanging out with him, but Brian? They do say we sometimes become friends with those who are at the opposite end, so maybe it's not such a weird thing. For me, the real win was the photos I took of Brian. Watch out for Sam Holt, the rising teenage stalker. Bringing the Polaroid camera I brought years ago during my camera geek phase seems like a good idea now. Sigh, I promised myself to stay away from people, stay away from the drama, but when I look at Brian, when he talks to me, it feels like maybe, just maybe, it's okay. Where am I? To have a little drama for myself. I'm not ready to define what this feeling is, but for now I'm going to label it as looking for a shoulder to cry on and just shove it under my bed like those pictures I took today. Ah, hint. What was that? Bed? Hated every moment I was not with B. I was helpless. Every day I wanted to call him just so we could chat. But I was afraid of what Brian would think of it. It could even hurt his reputation. When I finally worked up the nerve to call, all I could do was listen to him say hello. That was as far as our late night phone call chit-chat could go. I hung up wondering if he knew who was on the other end of the line. I remember the strong burning sensation that came every time I called him. That red, fiery sensation. Red. Red? Huh? Red. So fucking red. Red everywhere. Sam and Brian, SB, Sam and Brian, Sam and Brian, blah 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 blah. Finish what you started. What did I start? SB. What do I do with this? No? No? Okay. draw a heart. Hello? Can I not go that way? Hello? We meet at Cotton Hill. You know where to find me. Brian, oh my god, don't fucking... Do not do the runny at me. I cannot take it. My heart. Due date for Miss Leslie's book report is right around the corner and I'm still not finished. Only if I wasn't too disturbed. Normally I wouldn't bother reading a teen romance story, but for some reason I thought, hey, why not? The premise for Mingled itself is pretty generic. Jenny has a huge crush on her childhood friend Michael, but she can't get Michael to think of her as more than just friends. She reaches a conclusion that it's because of all the girls around him, so she starts making a list of all the basic girls who also have a crush on Michael. What she's planning to do with the list is yet to be revealed. If I can finish reading the book by tomorrow, I'll be able to finish the report with enough time for revise. Yes, I wonder how Brian is doing with his assignments. Why am I interested? Because he's been asking me for help. Can't read. Because he's been asking for my help with some of his works, and I gladly agreed to. Why would I do that? Because by helping Brian focus on his practices so he can bring trophies to our beloved school, it's safe to say I'm part of a bigger cause. Not like I'm doing this for personal reasons, right? Uh-huh. I wanted to read Brian like a book, peep into his beautiful head. Fill it with the desires I had to secretly incubate. Hello. You. Desires of whispering words like, don't leave me. Don't go away. Don't smile for others. It's normal. Please don't look away. Please don't look away. Please don't look away. I swallowed my heart. I swallowed my heart. Rosie, help. Ah. Help me. It's Spoopy. Nah, nah. What do I do? No. 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 Not yet. I will though. Stacy invited everyone to the late post-victory party at her place this Friday. Weird that she told me this at the hallway herself. The sudden act of courtesy was enough to leave me frozen. But to think of it, a self-conscious beauty queen like Stacy would love showing off how tolerant she could be. I'd prefer celebrating quietly in my room. But since the party is practically being held for Brian, I thought it would be sort of rude of me to not be there. He was nothing but nice to me since I met him, so the least I could do is show up. Plus, I could probably witness the face Stacy makes when she sees I actually had the nerve to show up. Maybe, just maybe, I could even piss her off if I managed to strike up a conversation with Brian. Omega hanging out with an alpha, Kyle would be busy comforting Stacy, fuming about how I mess up her ecosystem. No peer pressure, Sam. Just clean drinks and hopefully some casual talk with Brian. What could possibly go wrong?
Right.
Right. Right. Right. Like staring into closed eyes, I could never know if B knew I was looking at him. Did he even know I was there? Maybe he knew but simply didn't care. The only thing looking back is my decaying sanity. I wanted to look away so much, but what's the point when the stench is still there? I started to think the only way to get B's attention was to throw myself off Colton Hill. How did I become so low? All I wanted was a chance to show how I feel about B without any noise getting in the way. I still could have had some peace with Brian despite all the shit I had to deal with. Yeah, Rosie. She crazy. Brian was super likable. Everyone liked everything about him. They couldn't stop smiling when Brian started talking. The smiles they gave him made me want to puke. They smile as if their relationships with Brian mean much more than the one I have with B. And yet, I was the only one left with a broken heart when he left Rosen Peak. B was so determined about leaving that being a star player wasn't enough for him. B needed to be a fucking model student. Nothing says pick me to college admissions like a spotless student record. He can't just shake up my whole world and leave. Shut up! Sorry for the noise. Ooh. Suicide suspected in death of missing teenager. The girl of 17 who was found dead at Colton Hill likely ended her own life, police says. Sam Holt, a transfer student of Wayrite Academy, had been reporting missing for 6 days until Rosen Peak authorities discovered her body in the forest. Due to days of heavy rain around the time of her death, the investigation on Miss Holt's death faced new challenges. However, interviews with school faculty members and a student led to the possibility that she threw herself off a cliff of Colton Hill after months of rejection from her peers. She was rarely seen with others, says one of her former teachers. She was even publicly humiliated just before her disappearance. It must have worked as a tipping point for her. Rosen Peak police say the fall did not kill Sam instantly. It's possible she gasped for air through her broken neck before dying. Jesus. Wayrite Academy now faces a suspicion of neglecting its students, led by the mother of... Hello, Captuna. Hello, Leaf. Captain Tuna. How you doing, Leaf? I'm good. Playing scary game. It's scary. Meet me. You know where to find me. Did he set her up? Oh man, everything's gone wrong. All my senses are screaming in pain. I don't remember drinking any booze. The pain only escalated the moment Brian texted me, "You feeling okay?" No, it's not okay. And why is Brian asking me this? Did I do something to him? According to Brian, I went from being quiet to crazy, happy, and cute. His words, not mine. Real quick. I was so close to being the center of the party that he had to bring me back to the dorm. Why can't I remember any of them? Congrats, Sam. You've reached a new low in life. Shit, is this it? Is this how I die? I sincerely asked Brian if there was a good place to kill myself. He said maybe now is a good time to show you my secret hideout, since I passed the test by showing the whole school a different me. Is he seriously going to take me to his Colton Hill hideout? Tomorrow I'm going to the so-called most romantic place in Rosen Peak with Brian. There's something in my head that's keeping me awake, and it's not hangover. Ah, shit. Hello? What am I looking at? Oh. Let me, like, turn this down a tiny bit. And then turn me down a tiny bit. Down here. Where am I? Going to Brian's fancy spot. Bye, Lee. Thanks for stopping by. Oh. Did Brian push me? I don't know if that's humiliation. That's murder. Oh my god, Brian actually took me to Colton Hill. The hideout Brian mentioned had a wonderful view of the small town. The whole place under the golden sunset. The best part of the spot was that it was quite hidden and unsafe. You could easily roll down the hill if you're careless or drunk and no one could find you for days. How awesome is that? Being drunk at that wonderful moment didn't cause any accident though. We sat there for less than an hour, but it felt like an eternity. I can't even remember what we talked about. I do remember saying how beautiful Rosen Peak is, and Brian being all meh about it. Guess you can get fed up with views like this too. Today's only regret is that I failed to bring the true essence of the hill's view back with me. There's a reason why I gave up photography as a hobby in the first place. At least the close-up shot of Brian was not half as bad. When I came back down from the hill, it became clear that my life just became a bit more messed up now. I know because I really want to talk to Brian again soon. Help me get sleep quickly today, diary. Aw, I'm sorry. Brian's secret hideout. A closed Colton Hill hiking route. Discovered by himself so he can hide from the world around him. Not a flashy place, but it had a great view. All of life's problems. Creepy screaming face. I wished it could be our special place. Ours and ours only. Colton Hill is nothing but a rock pile of blood-soaked memories now. Why did he have to break my fucking heart? What was I, just one of his many friends? Maybe that's it. That's why he wanted to leave. Even after I told him we won't be together anymore. He thought he was too good for Rosen Peak and me. To him, it was just a background in his pictures. Picture? You don't deserve a face. Psycho? Hello? Hello? Can I just read this note, guys? Shut up. Hey, camera. The book report was finished days ago, but I can't stop thinking about Mingled, mostly because my stupid brain thinks I'm sort of like the main character, Jenny. To summarize the rest of the book, Jenny goes on this jealousy-fueled sabotage rampage on every girl who has a crush on Michael. I know it sounds horrible without context, but it's actually kind of cute. She finally stands on top, but Michael finds out what she's done. He breaks Jenny's heart, saying he can't be sure of who she is anymore. Things work out in the end, but that's not why I sympathize with the dorky psycho girl. Right? Brian is just like Michael, popular, has killer biceps, busy hanging out with people. I can't see what he wants because of all the noise around him. I know he wants to go to college, but what about beyond the boring stuff? What kind of person does he like? What does he think about me? He told me about his mom, how she died of cancer last year. It must have been so hard trying to look out okay in front of everyone who's depending on him. Sometimes... Where am I? Feel like he can't see me because he's so busy trying to meet everyone's expectations. I know how those around us can be hurtful and it's dangerous to rely on them so much. I just wish I can tell Brian one day that I'm here for him. Okay, normal. Ah, it's only when I'm standing. I don't know. I might get off in like 10-20 minutes. Are you saving up points? Is that why? Brian got what he wanted in the end. He left Rosen Peak as soon as he was given the chance. As for me, I was left to suffocate in the hole of tainted memories until I drown in my own endless nightmare. Okay. Every day, every night, I'm surrounded by whispers. Whispers that lie, whispers that eat away my brain piece by piece, no matter how I try to. Oh God, I hear them again. You in a healthy relationship? Take this quick survey to find out. Sure. One must take as much as one gives. What? Take as much as one gives. No. Obsession is a stronger form of love. No. No one can have what you can't. No one can have... No. B never loved you. No. Because you're a selfish little shit. No. All your problems are caused by you. No. It's all your fault. Not my fault. Are you in denial? Are you regretting? Okay. Hello? okay? It's getting worse. The fucking shithole town left a disgusting crack on my heart. And it's getting bigger and bigger. The voices I hear from the crack are getting louder. I see more and more eyes staring at me through the gap. Miss Leslie gave us an easy poetry assignment for once. She said it's okay to make a parody of the classics as long as we stick to the ABCB pattern. So I took the liberty of letting my imagination go ABCB berserk. Here's a slight taste of my early work. Roses are red, violets are blue. My life would have sucked if it wasn't for you. That's dumb. I could have waited for Brian to ask for my help with homework again, but I decided to make the first move this time. And guess what? He said he can handle it alone. Call me paranoid, but I'm worried I might have hurt Brian's pride. That's what happens when Sam opens her idiot mouth or uses her idiot brain. P.S. I've decided to carry my diary in my bag. The doors in the girls' dorm are way too easy to open. Not as easy as Stacy, though, if you know what I mean. I even saw one of the girls using a notepad to crack her door open. Besides, I have this weird hunch someone's been reading my diary. I've decided to ignore this hunch. Not to ignore. I ran out of places to run. I had only one solution. Now my memories are scattered all over the dark. Now I must look for them. 2, 3, 4. Memories. Oh, okay. What? No. I indulge your gaze. Hi, boss. I cherish your smile. You don't deserve a face. Coward. Hmm? Be my endless sun rays. One more. Out the window. Where'd I do this? Under bed? I don't know where to do this. Okay. Let's choose. Hmm. Where do I look? Which way you started? Is it not outside? Maybe I can leave now? I'm confused. Anyone see anything? Feeling? Okay, so there's blood there. Eyes there. And it goes from outside the hall to his door to the bathroom. Maybe I gotta look this up. It's not under the bed. It's not out the window. In the fridge. This. And the microwave. And that's. What's that? I'm lost. Not under the bed. What do? Oh. That. Keep me forever warm. Is that right? With Brian preparing for a rematch with the Hammerheads, I once again gladly gave him a hand with the non-important homework stuff. I must say the teachers here don't give their poor students a break just because the test is over. It's not like I'm burdened with helping out. But Brian is really trying hard to get good grades. From what I heard, he doesn't have much to worry about going to college since he's practically a local football player. Or football star. Maybe his pushy police chief dad raised him to be an overachiever. It's funny how a model athlete like Brian got friends like Kyle who always find excuses to pull him out of school. It's unfair, really. As long as you're a sports star, you'll end up with douches like him no matter how nice a person you are. I don't speak with Kyle much, but I don't need to know what he's like. First of all, his girlfriend is freaking Stacy. The stare he gives me when I pass by is enough to creep me out for the whole day. It would be lucky if Stacy didn't come along and start yapping about how Brian is out of my league. She has Kyle to play with. So why would she even care? Like, ask your boyfriend out for a drive. Geez, have a nice life with him so Brian can stay out of the poison he does not deserve. Hey, I'm looking in. Hello? Oh. Hello? Hello? Hello, 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 hello. I wake up without waking up. Nah. Hello? 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 Okay. I wake up without... Eat a thing. I wake up without waking up. Okay. But there's nothing in here. There's a grate. Garbage. Sinks. Okay. The fuck are you smiling at? Guessing we have to look at this and run. This is for B. Don't pussy out. Push the shutter. Do it. What's this about? Open? You're nothing but trash. Where's the trash can? Ah. Mm. Fuck this game, 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 fuck this game. Jeez. There's trash everywhere. There was a consulting session for Greenheart University student programs. They called it GUSP. LOL, what the fuck. At the gym today. Seen its posters all over the school since the day I arrived. I had nothing better to do, so I decided to give a visit and spend my precious after-school time reading brochures. Once again, just like at the library, I was surprised to see Brian there. He was at the early decision program booth. I wanted to talk to him, but instead I ran for my room, jumped into my bed, and out of nowhere tears started to drop. I bet it was because of those stupid hearts. Yep, I saw those hearts again. Now they were on the gym walls too. Whoever drew them must be insecure about the relationship, insecure like me. Deep down, I know I want my own hearts on the walls too, but seeing Brian at the university booth felt like finally getting punched by reality. I have no idea what I'll be doing in a couple of years. I thought of staying here at Rosen Peak, but with Brian preparing to leave, there's just no point to it. No Brian, no hearts on the wall. God, it's like my brain's creating a storm. I'm just gonna lie down for a bit. Hopefully I'll wake up next week. I think I'm actually gonna call it for now, guys. We'll go back to it tomorrow. See if it gets spookier. Already, my voice hurts. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you. Thank you for joining me. I hope you had fun watching and me getting scared and crying a lot. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Bye. I love you. Bye. See ya. Bye. Loves. Bye bye.